Welcome back, Mythology fans. Today, we're diving into the epic story of one of Greece's greatest heroes, Hercules, and his 12 labors. I know you've all heard of Hercules, but do you really know the full story? Let's find out. Hercules, a legendary figure of Greek mythology, is widely known as the son of Zeus, the king of the gods, and his mortal lover, Alcmene. However, despite his divine lineage, his existence is marred by the deep-seated animosity of Hera, queen of the gods. Hera resented Hercules from the moment he entered the world, for he was the living embodiment of Zeus's unfaithfulness. Each time she looked upon him, she was cruelly reminded of her husband's infidelity. This resentment fueled a burning hatred within Hera, and she vowed to make Hercules' life as arduous as possible. One night, Hera sent 2 venomous serpents to make their way silently into Hercules' crib. The serpents slithered towards the unsuspecting Hercules, their tongues flickering in anticipation of their malicious task. But even in his infancy, Hercules possessed a strength that surpassed that of ordinary mortals. As the serpents approached, their venomous fangs ready to strike, Hercules awoke with a start. He gazed fearlessly at the 2 serpents, his innocent eyes filled with a determination not common for a child of his age. With a speed that belied his tender years, Hercules reached out and grasped the serpents. His tiny hands tightened around the writhing creatures, their scales digging into his skin, but he held them fast. Though the serpents hissed and wriggled, their venomous intentions were futile against the indomitable strength of the young hero. Hercules squeezed tighter, his baby muscles displaying an astonishing power. In his tiny hands, the snakes struggled, gasping for breath, until they finally succumbed to his unwavering grip. No longer a threat, the lifeless serpents lay still in Hercules' grasp, no match for his extraordinary might. Alcmene woke abruptly, startled by the commotion, only to find her son unharmed and the vanquished serpents at his side. News of this miraculous act spread throughout the land, and it became clear that Hercules possessed a divine strength and resilience beyond comprehension. This event marked the beginning of his epic journey, where he would face countless trials and tribulations, all orchestrated by the vengeful Hera. Hercules had learned many skills such as wrestling, writing, reading, archery, and even horseback riding. Wanting to prove himself in battle, he fought to defend Thebes against the Minyans and was victorious. As a reward for his bravery and battle prowess, the king offered his daughter, Megara, to Hercules. They had many children, and for a time, Hercules was happy with his life. He had gained a beautiful family, but all this had made Hera furious. Overwhelmed by her jealousy, Hera unleashes a madness upon Hercules, causing him to unknowingly kill his own children and wife. Consumed by grief, Hercules contemplates his own demise, but his cousin Theseus guides him towards redemption. The oracle at Delphi informs him that he must serve his cousin Eurystheus, the king of Tiryns and Mycenae, and complete 10 labors. These labors, initially intended to be only 10, grew in number due to the gods' interference. Hercules' first task was to kill the invincible Nemean lion and bring its skin back to King Eurystheus. The lion's skin was so tough that no weapon could penetrate it. Despite the horrifying tales of the mighty lion, Hercules tracked it down. With his immense physical strength coursing through his veins, he fearlessly entered the treacherous lair of the lion. As the lion's menacing growls echoed through the dense forest, Hercules stood his ground, his muscles rippling with determination. The Nemean lion emerged, its golden fur shimmering under the sun, its claws glinting with deadly intent. With a ferocious roar, the lion lunged at Hercules, but Hercules, undeterred, swiftly evaded the lion's attack. He seized the lion by its monstrous mane, his powerful grip tightening around its throat. The lion fought back fiercely, its claws slashing through the air, but Hercules stood unwavering, unyielding to the beast's futile attempts. Channeling every ounce of his formidable strength, Hercules squeezed with relentless force, his powerful hands constricting the lion's windpipe. The lion's roars grew weaker, its resistance fading as Hercules maintained his unwavering grip. Gradually, the once fearsome predator succumbed to Hercules' indomitable strength. The Nemean lion, defeated and lifeless, lay motionless beneath Hercules' Herculean grip. His triumphant victory echoed through the surrounding wilderness, a testament to the unparalleled strength and courage that dwelled within the young hero. Hercules' next task was to defeat the nine-headed Lernaean Hydra, a monster living in a swamp. Once Hercules reached the Lernaean swamp, he could see the immense size of the Hydra. He knew that his task was not going to be an easy one. As the Hydra loomed ahead, Hercules could feel his muscles tense with adrenaline. He had never faced a challenge quite like this before. The creature was massive, with 9 terrifying heads that seemed to be watching his every move. But Hercules was not alone in his fight. Iolaus stood by his side, his unwavering loyalty and camaraderie, giving Hercules the strength he needed to face the Hydra head-on. With a deep breath, Hercules charged forward, brandishing his sword as he prepared to do battle. As the formidable Hydra lunged at him with its multiple heads, Hercules swiftly dodged its attacks with incredible agility. With every swing of his sword, Hercules severed the Hydra's heads one by one. However, with each head that hit the ground, 2 more would spring up from its bloody stump. To combat this, Hercules' nephew, wielding a flaming torch, strategically set the Hydra's stumps ablaze to prevent any regrowth. Their combined efforts and relentless determination overwhelmed the Hydra, leading to its eventual defeat. Despite having defeated the Hydra, Hercules was denied its glory because he had the help of his nephew. Regardless, he continued on to the next challenge. Now, Hercules has to capture a golden hind. They were beautiful golden deer, with horns made of gold. The catch: if he wounded the deer, he would be cursed by the goddess of hunting and the moon, Diana. Catching one would be no easy feat, as they had supernatural speed. Equipped with his mighty bow and arrow, Hercules ventured deep into the heart of the forest, where the golden hind resided. As he entered, the dense foliage seemed to whisper warnings, hinting at the challenges that awaited him. But Hercules remained undeterred, for his determination burned brighter than the sun. Days turned into nights, nights into weeks and months. As Hercules tirelessly followed the golden hind's trail, with every step, he carefully examined the evidence left behind, keenly honing his tracking skills. The forest, however, seemed to conspire against him, as the hind darted effortlessly through the trees, leaving Hercules in constant pursuit. Finally, after a whole year, Hercules emerged into a vast, sunlit clearing where the golden hind stood majestically before him. Its radiant golden coat shimmered in the sunlight, captivating Hercules with its beauty. With steady hands and a focused mind, Hercules notched an arrow into his mighty bow. He took a deep breath, channeling his immense strength and divine purpose into the string. Time stood still as he released the arrow, its flight guided by the gods themselves. The arrow soared through the air, finding its mark. It struck the golden hind, piercing its side and causing it to stumble. In that moment, Hercules knew he had succeeded. With a swift motion, he rushed forward, carefully and respectfully securing the hind, ensuring its safety and his ultimate victory. Diana was very angry because Hercules tried to kill her sacred animal. She was about to take the deer away from Hercules, and surely she would have punished him, but Hercules told her the truth. He said that he had to obey the oracle and do the labors Eurystheus had given him. Diana let go of her anger and healed the deer's wound. With the task successfully completed, Hercules carried it alive to Mycenae to receive his next task. As Hercules set out on his 4th task, he knew that capturing the Erymanthian boar would not be an easy feat. The beast roamed the countryside, attacking and destroying everything in its path. But Hercules, undeterred, listened carefully for the boar's snorts and stomps, eventually tracking it to the mountainside. With courage and determination, Hercules chased the boar round and round the mountain, his voice echoing through the valleys. Finally, the boar, exhausted and frightened, hid in a thicket. Hercules approached cautiously, knowing that the boar could still inflict great harm with its tusks. With a well-placed poke of his spear, Hercules drove the boar out of its hiding place and into a deep patch of snow. The boar, unable to move quickly in the snow, was soon captured by the mighty Hercules. And so he completed his 4th task, bringing the Erymanthian boar alive back to King Eurystheus. Hercules' next challenge was an impossible task: cleaning the legendary Augean stables, which had not been tended to for many years. Undeterred by the daunting task ahead, Hercules approached King Augeas with a proposition. Without divulging any details about Eurystheus, the man responsible for assigning his 12 labors, Hercules told the king that he could accomplish the feat in just one day. In return, he requested a tenth of Augeas's prized cattle as a reward. Initially taken aback by the audacity of the claim, Augeas hesitantly agreed to the unusual arrangement. Eager to fulfill his promise, Hercules devised a clever plan. He began by tearing a massive opening in one side of the cattle yard's wall, granting unhindered access to the stables. Then, on the opposite side of the yard, he created another opening to control the flow of the impending river torrents. With relentless determination, Hercules dug wide and deep trenches, skillfully redirecting the waters of 2 nearby rivers into the once-forgotten stables. The forceful currents swept through the stables, effectively flushing out the accumulated filth and debris. Every last bit of the mess was carried away through the strategically placed opening in the wall, leaving the stables impeccably clean. Hercules had successfully completed yet another seemingly impossible task. Despite having cleaned the stalls, Hercules was denied both his reward and the credit for his task because he was supposed to accomplish each task without pay. The task assigned for the 6th labor was to disperse a large flock of birds congregated near Stymphilos's town lake. These birds were notorious for being of mammoth size, capable of devouring humans. On reaching the lake, Hercules was clueless about how to get rid of the massive number of birds. He received help from Athena, who gave him a pair of bronze crotala, noise-creating clappers akin to castanets. The crotala wasn't a regular noisemaker, but a tool crafted by Hephaestus, an immortal artisan and god of the forge. Hercules climbed up a nearby mountain and loudly clanged the crotala, frightening the birds out of the trees before shooting them with bow and arrow in mid-flight. The capture of the Cretan bull was a challenging task for Hercules, as the bull was considered sacred by the Minoans, who did not allow it to be harmed. Despite their efforts to recapture it, the bull continued to wreak havoc on the island, both day and night. Finally, Hercules discovered the bull hiding deep in the forest and, taking advantage of its lowered head, seized it by the horns and brought it to the ground. Due to the quickness of this maneuver, the bull was left dizzy for a moment, which allowed Hercules to secure it tightly with rope. He then proceeded to bring the bull back to King Eurystheus, having completed his 7th labor. For his next task, Hercules was to bring back the aggressive horses of Diomedes, which belonged to a ruthless king. As Hercules approached the wild and untamable mares of Diomedes, he moved swiftly and quietly, attempting to sneak up on these flesh-eating horses. However, his endeavors did not go unnoticed, as some of Diomedes' soldiers caught sight of him and immediately launched an attack. The clash between Hercules and the soldiers created a commotion, alerting Diomedes to the intruder. Filled with rage, Diomedes confronted Hercules in a fierce battle, determined to protect his prized possessions. Nevertheless, Hercules' extraordinary strength proved to be superior, enabling him to overcome Diomedes and emerge victorious. Seizing the moment, Hercules decided to employ a fitting punishment for the merciless king. He fed Diomedes to his own man-eating horses, an act that soothed the beasts. Taking advantage of their newfound docility, Hercules swiftly bound their mouths shut, ensuring he could safely transport the mares back to King Eurystheus. As part of his 8th labor, Admete, the daughter of Eurystheus, learned about the queen of the Amazons and her prized possession, a special leather belt gifted by the god of war, Ares. Consumed by her desire to possess the coveted belt, Admete knew that she had discovered Hercules' 9th labor. The Amazons, renowned for their fierce hostility towards men, resided in a distant land. Determined to acquire the belt, Hercules embarked on a treacherous journey to find the Amazonian tribe. Upon his arrival at their shore, Hercules was surprisingly greeted with warmth and hospitality. The reputation of his legendary exploits had preceded him, and the queen of the Amazons, Hippolyta, agreed to honor his request. Hippolyta agreed to part with her cherished belt and met Hercules for a private lunch aboard his ship. However, unbeknownst to them, Hera, disguised as an Amazon warrior, began spreading rumors that Hercules intended to abduct their queen. This enraged the Amazons, and they swiftly assembled in full battle formation, determined to defend their queen at any cost. Witnessing the imminent danger, Hercules, after a quick farewell kiss, snatched the belt and sailed away, leaving Hippolyta behind on the shore. With his mission accomplished, Hercules returned to King Eurystheus and proudly presented him with the prized belt of Hippolyta. For his next labor, King Eurystheus decided to make Hercules travel to the end of the earth to the island Erythea and bring back the red cattle of Gyron. Hercules embarked on his journey, enduring days of relentless travel under the scorching sun. Exhausted and parched, he took aim at Helios, the sun god, with his arrow in a futile attempt to relieve his suffering. To his surprise, Helios, instead of being angered, admired Hercules' audacity and bestowed upon him a golden cup. This cup, not intended for drinking, possessed magical properties that would shorten the last leg of Hercules' arduous expedition to the island of Erythea. Grateful for the gift, Hercules pressed on, pushing through the hardships that lay ahead. Upon reaching Erythea, the hero's respite was short-lived as Orthus, the fearsome two-headed dog, attacked him. With his mighty club, Hercules swiftly dispatched the creature. However, his triumph attracted the attention of Eurytion, who suffered the same fate. News of these encounters reached the ears of Geryon, the owner of the prized red cattle. Determined to protect his treasures, Geryon confronted Hercules as he attempted to escape with the cattle. Undeterred by the beast's imposing presence, Hercules engaged in a fierce battle and eventually triumphed, slaying Geryon with his powerful arrows. Not one to let Hercules off easily, Hera, in her relentless desire to torment him, sent a gadfly to bite and irritate the cattle, causing them to scatter in chaos. Resolute in his quest, Hercules persevered, spending an entire year to round up the scattered cattle and gather them together again. Just when victory seemed within reach, Hera unleashed a devastating flood, causing the river to surge and obstruct Hercules' path back to Eurystheus' court. Ever resourceful, Hercules gathered stones and created a pathway, shallow enough to navigate with the cattle. Finally, he arrived at the court of Eurystheus, sacrificing the red cattle to Hera as commanded, completing his penance yet again. After receiving the task to bring the golden apples to King Eurystheus, Hercules embarked on a challenging journey to locate the hidden garden at the northern edge of the world. Despite approaching various mythical beings for information, Hercules found himself stuck with no clear leads. It was during his encounter with the chained Titan Prometheus on Mount Caucasus that Hercules finally received a breakthrough. Prometheus, who had suffered for his transgressions against Zeus, offered a solution. He informed Hercules that his brother, Atlas, possessed the knowledge of obtaining the golden apples and proposed a deal. If Hercules took the burden of holding the world from Atlas, Atlas would retrieve the apples for him. Agreeing to the deal, Hercules shouldered the immense weight of the world, allowing Atlas to venture to Hera's garden. As promised, Atlas returned with 3 golden apples. However, Hercules seized an opportunity to free himself from the burden, exploiting Atlas's brief cooperation. He convinced Atlas to hold the world momentarily to fashion a pad for his weary shoulders, and in this moment, Hercules swiftly seized the apples and departed for King Eurystheus. Overjoyed by Hercules' success, the king received the long-awaited golden apples, marking the completion of the hero's 11th labor. After successfully completing his previous tasks, Hercules embarked on his final adventure, the capture of Cerberus, the infamous 3-headed dog who served as the guardian of the underworld. Determined to accomplish this labor, Hercules set out on a search for the renowned priest Eumolpus, known for his involvement in the initiation of the Eleusinian mysteries. These mysteries were believed to hold the key to finding happiness even in the depths of the underworld. With a fervent desire to uncover their secrets, Hercules proceeded to locate the entrance to the mysteries, which lay within a cave in Tanairum. Guided by the god Hermes, he delved deeper and deeper into the realm of the dead until he encountered Hades, the ruler of the underworld. Brave and unwavering, Hercules approached Hades and made a bold request to bring Cerberus back to the surface. Surprisingly, Hades agreed, granting Hercules not only safe passage but also permission to take the fearsome creature. Hercules, filled with determination and guided by the wisdom of Athena, pressed on and eventually laid eyes upon Cerberus. With tremendous strength and skill, he swiftly overpowered the beast, wrestling it to the ground before hoisting it onto his formidable shoulders. Energized by his triumph, Hercules emerged from the depths of the underworld and embarked on his return journey to King Eurystheus. Arriving at the king's castle, Hercules presented the colossal Cerberus at the base of the city gates, igniting fear in the heart of Eurystheus. Realizing the formidable power Hercules possessed, the frightened king pleaded with him to return the beast, promising to release him from his labors in return. Moved by Eurystheus's desperation, Hercules made the noble decision to relinquish Cerberus, allowing the creature to return to Hades and the depths of the underworld. With his final labor finally finished, Hercules' honor had been restored, and his legend would be told for years to come.